Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. Always a phenomenal day when we got the Fieldstone Leadership Network in the house. Joining us is Janine Mason, founder and director of this iconic group. How you doing there, Janine?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here, and we're thrilled that you brought in some of your clients, members, friends, colleagues, and everything in between. Jen Nation, executive director of Olivewood Gardens and Learning Center. We've known each other for a while. I can't believe you've been at Olivewood for 7 years. What is wrong with me for not knowing that? How you been, Jen?
I've been really good. Time sure does fly, that's for sure. Thank you so much for having us today.
Olivewood is just absolutely so spot on, and get to work very closely with one of my colleagues, Leangela Brady, who is the superintendent at the National School District, and the work you do is great. We'll get to your mission in a second. And a regular on our Spotlight show, I think she's pretty much just going to take over hosting my show and do 10 times better than me. And that is Fiona Chatwin. She's the executive director via Musica that continues to spread its footprint out in the San Diego County. Always good to see you, Fiona.
Thank you so much, Drew. Stand aside. Your job is in jeopardy.
It is. Trust me, it is in jeopardy every single time I have talented folks like this. Janine, we'll start with you before we toss over to Jen and to Fiona. How long has the Fieldstone Leadership Network been in business?
Well, Fieldstone's been supporting the community for 42 years, and our network has been active for about 32 years now.
And you just do such wonderful things with such well-known organizations that, with leadership, and of course, the tentacles just spread every single time you work with one. It just spreads to others as well. Jen, talk about the experience working with Fieldstone.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really fortunate that I was accepted into the executive leadership program about 8 months into my job as a new CEO. And I can say it was really an invaluable experience for me. I think what makes the network so unique is not only you're learning from your peers, but sometimes being in a director role, you feel kind of like, who are you supposed to turn to for advice and questions? And the network really provided me an opportunity to have really fabulous mentors and peers and just learn so much about myself and just how to best be the best executive director I could be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well positioned, obviously, the great work you did with the Girl Scouts. Talk about the mission of Olivewood Gardens.
Yeah, Olivewood Gardens, we're actually celebrating our 15th anniversary this year, so we've updated our mission, which is very exciting. Our mission is to nourish communities and cultivate a deep connection to the environment through nutrition education, sustainable urban agriculture, collective advocacy, and intergenerational leadership.
Then the people you've touched throughout the county, of course, but specifically in National City and with the National School District is huge in this area. And I know when you talk to Superintendent Brady and everybody at that district, man, it is just eyeballs light up when you talk about Olivewood Gardens. What have you liked the most about what you've done there?
Yeah, the National School District was our first partner 15 years ago, and I think without them, we wouldn't be able to catapult into what we've been able to do up until now. So we have a deep relationship with the school district. We're really a place-based organization, so rooted in National City, and our partnership with the school district has evolved tremendously. We currently serve all 4,600 students in the district through either in-school programs. We're in the school day teaching all TK through 6th grade students in their own gardens that we're able to cultivate and manage. And then we have 4th graders that come 3 times a year, kind of a progression-based environmental science and nutrition program. And then we are able to be back in the schools in an after-school space. And then our kitchenistas, which are members of our community, are in the schools doing parent education all year round as well. So we've really had a deep relationship with families and have been able to see some really important change happen in kids advocating for healthier school lunches, looking at ways to compost, recycle, and be a part of their community. And it's been really a phenomenal relationship.
Yeah, so not only learning science, learning math, learning budgets, learning everything in between. I mean, what a holistic approach in it. We know that childhood obesity is at crisis stages in this country. Providing healthy food, for those kids is absolutely going to be just an impactful situation for them moving forward. And with you, Fiona, the fact that you're providing this musical experience for rubes like me, who wouldn't even know how to hold a recorder, for God's sake, but have just really, stretched what you're doing. Talk about the mission of what Via Musica is.
Well, really, our mission is completely tied up with access. So our programming is all about making sure that people can access a quality music education, whether they're a child, an adult, or an older adult. Our main campus, as you know, is in Sorrento Valley. We're bursting at the seams, and so our exciting news is that we're in the process of negotiating a lease on a second bricks and mortar version replicating the success we've had in Sorrento Valley, and we're heading out to the East County. So we'll have Villa Musica West and Villa Musica East, and we're really excited. It looks like it's going to be La Mesa, and I know there are a lot of families out there really excited for that expansion and for their children and their family members to have access to music education.
All right, tell me the impact what Fieldstone Network has been with you folks.
Oh my gosh, I started with Fieldstone about 7 years ago, I think. I've done pretty much every program possible. I think the most impactful for me was to be able to go on sabbatical last year. I was one of the 2 recipients of the sabbatical program for 23-24, and I was able to take 4 months away from work. And it wasn't just to give the ED a break. It was actually to really watch my team rise to the occasion. My board of directors, my whole life changed really, and the organisation has benefited from that program so incredibly.
So now you're going to be a spokesperson for the Fieldstone Leadership Network. What would you say to those people that are thinking about getting involved in the network?
It's an incredible opportunity, as you said earlier, Jen, that the people around you are people who understand your job, who understand your goals, your struggles. They're just an incredible community who are willing to share in a meaningful way to enable us all to kind of, I think the word is coagulate around our work here in San Diego, and to truly, be able to talk about the difficulties. As you said earlier, being an executive director can be quite lonely, and having people who you can turn to who are truly understanding of your work and what it's like to be in the nonprofit sector here in San Diego. I think Fieldstone just really has an extraordinary network.
With network and reputation, and there's something that comes with what you both described, Fiona, you and Jen. Who do I turn to? I'm at the top of this mountaintop over here. Yeah, we have a board and all that business, but that's a little bit of a different relationship. A board and a CEO with a staff and CEO. And now you get to turn to, Fieldstone and what, Janine and her team have done. And I'll start with you on this, Janine. It's about trust. Everything starts with trust. How important is that?
It's the basis of everything. We believe that all leadership requires relationships. So that's a key part of all of our learning opportunities is space and an environment that builds trusting relationships among the leaders. Our hope is that natural collaborations will then bubble up from that experience, but it also gives each one of the people that are here today and each of our members really a network of people in which they can call if they have questions, and with that understanding that these people know what the environment is like, what the situation feels like, and that the other key part of the work that we do is confidentiality, which is key to trust as well. But that's a legacy that we've had from the very beginning, and all of these folks here, all of our members of Fieldstone carry that legacy of confidentiality. So you know that it's a safe space in which to be able to talk openly, and that's the only way to be able to make progress on these intractable challenges that they're trying to lead and solve.
Well, you listen, first of all, spot on, times 8 billion on this. But, and what comes with somebody who is trustworthy and trustful is the skill that a lot of us don't have, and that's the ability to listen. We all hear. We can hear. We got 2 ears, for God's sake, or most of us have 2 ears. But listening. And Jen, I've known you for a while, and Fiona, maybe a little bit less, but you guys are unbelievable listeners. You had to do that with your role, certainly at the Girl Scouts, and you're doing it now. Talk about how important that is, listening to what Janine and the team has to say, and then your colleagues like Fiona and Rhea and Valin.
Yeah, I think it's critical to the work that we do. We're working in communities, and if we're not listening and understanding what the needs are, we're not going to be very successful in our roles. And I think part of the Fieldstone network that's been so valuable to me is a reminder of that it is confidential and we do build trust. And then that's something we're taking back into our communities with our teams, with the people that we're working with. At Olivewood, like I said, we're 15 years old, and we've really been a result of the community's impact. And if we weren't taking the time to, my ideas, I have got great ideas, don't get me wrong, but, they're not really necessarily always what's best for the community. And so being able to listen and put that, and then give back to the community to say that, hey, so they can see that we did listen and here's where we're moving. And I think that's really important. Yeah.
And Fiona, you know this, I've been doing this for a while, that when somebody recognizes you've been listening because they see what they've been telling you is actually put into place without having you to say it, because we all know the actions are most important than words, and all that business. How important is that?
I mean, that's kind of the raison d'être, to what we do is the listening, taking the learned confidentiality, the open space in which people can truly express themselves and kind of put down that little cone of silence in a moment when somebody really needs to reveal something that is difficult, is something that we've taken out into our community programming, having community conversations where we listen to, like you said, Jen, listen to the participants in our programming or the potential participants and truly try to hear what they need, try to hear what they want. And so we can design programming, exactly as you said, Jen, just around the need in the community, and listening is a huge part of that. And it's not a natural thing for me to do.
It's not a natural thing for anyone.
So I appreciate Janine's impeccable reputation for listening. She's taught me so much about how it is to sit back and listen and digest.
We need a few other of the 300 million people living in the United States to be doing it. How about the 8 billion in the world while I'm at it and say that? Fiona, website. What's your website so people can get engaged with you?
villamusica.org.
Very good. Jen, yours?
olivewoodgardens.org.
Yeah, good. Well, good chatting with both of you. Jen Nations, Executive Director of Olivewood Gardens and Learning Center, and Fiona Chatwin, Executive Director of Musica. We're going to chat with two of your colleagues that are also been members of this iconic Fieldstone Leadership Network. Thanks for coming in. We know we're going to have you back on individually talking about the 4 zillion things you folks are doing as well when we return after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are back with some of the finest members of Janine Mason's Fieldstone Leadership Network. And that would be Rhea Van Brocklin, Executive Director of Christie's Place, and Valin Brown, CEO of Alliant Educational Foundation. And before we get into Rhea and Valin, Janine, why don't you say a few words about these folks?
Well, these are two of the finest nonprofit leaders that I've had the privilege of working with. Both serve as Fieldstone coaches, so they are a living example of our values in terms of reciprocity and giving back to the sector. And they started with us in learning groups, I think both did, and then moved into our coaching world. And once they started, I asked if they would be happy to serve as a coach and give back, and they have both said yes. And I hope that they never leave us because they're really tremendous mentors to other nonprofit leaders.
Without question. How many coaches do you have?
We have just about 24.
24, okay, very good. Obviously, that's a high moniker that you folks have earned on this. Rhea, nice to see you. How long have you been Executive Director of Christie's Place?
It'll be 6 years in May. Oh, is it next month?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Are we already in April? When did that happen? About 4 months ago. What's the mission of the organization?
So Christie's Place has been around for 29 years, and our mission is to empower women, children, and families who've been impacted by HIV/AIDS to take charge of their health and wellness.
No, that's great. And Valin, CEO of Alliant Educational Foundation, how long have you been there?
8 years now.
8 years, and what's your mission?
Big picture, it's really about education and mental health. We're actually just down the street here in Scripps Ranch, but it's really about building bridges between underserved communities, universities, and basically those that can make a difference in building a more equitable, just society.
Yeah, unless you've lived in a different solar system, we talked a little bit about the childhood, obesity issue. That's a crisis probably in the world, certainly in the United States. But mental health, there's not a person, I think, from Mozambique to Santee to you name it, that is impacted with this. And how do we deal with this? It is just monstrous.
It is. I mean, I think there's some great resources that are underutilized in terms of connecting. So, for example, in this case, Alliant International University has got all these great graduate students in clinical psych that need to do practicums, need to do internships. What they weren't doing is a whole lot of nonprofit sites and specifically youth-serving sites. So being able to build that bridge was a huge opportunity for making a difference earlier, younger, and think about kind of that early intervention, prevention. If we can start earlier, we can make a big difference over the long haul.
Well, and there's no question about it. Much has been talked about. We've had a lot of mental health institutions on the Spotlight show, and we know there's a huge shortage of mental health professionals in this through nobody's fault except for the fact this is an important field for 75 different reasons. Do you work with the K-12 schools?
There are some, yeah. Like San Diego Unified has a couple of sites that are practicum sites for the program,
right.
And then some of the well-known nonprofits in the community too.
Yeah. So, Rhea, talk a little bit about what you folks do. Do you work closely with groups like Mama's Kitchen and so forth?
We do, yeah. So Christie's Place, we're really fortunate to be able to offer wraparound support services for the women and the families that we serve. So that can include case management, nutrition and food support, childcare, transportation. And as we know, so many women living with HIV struggle with the stigma and hiding their diagnosis and kind of not feeling comfortable sharing their story. So what we really do is encourage them to come to terms with their diagnosis and use that story to further impact the community and encourage others to link to care.
Right. So how do people get involved with you folks?
So typically we have partnerships with a lot of the community health centers, the university health centers, also with Planned Parenthood, that if they have someone who is newly diagnosed with HIV, who is within our target population of being a woman or being part of a family, they directly connect them to us, and we do the intake. We give them services right away, and there's a really nice warm handoff from one organization to the other to make sure that there's no gaps that are left.
Yeah, talk a little about isolation. Isolation, big deal in senior communities, to say the least, but no different in the community you work with as well, correct?
Yeah, and the population of folks living with HIV who are aging, that is a really growing community, and one that I don't think our community was really prepared for. So I know at Christie's Place, about 65% of our clients are over the age of 50, and it kind of takes this turn from when we were watching babies being born to the mothers. Now they're becoming mothers themselves, and that our clients are becoming grandparents. So just really making sure that we have a support community for them has been incredibly important to avoid isolation and bring them into love and care where they belong.
Right. Rhea, we asked your colleague earlier, Jen Nation and Fiona Chatwin, what it meant working with the Fieldstone Leadership Network. What did it mean to you and to your constituents?
So I connected with Fieldstone about 3 months after I started my job at Christie's Place, and I can say it was probably the most rewarding experience that I've had to date. I've done an executive director role before where I was completely left alone. I didn't really have anyone to connect with. And my first program through Fieldstone was their executive learning group. It just so happened that also fell around the time that this pandemic called COVID hit. So it was just a really enriching experience. And some of my colleagues who I met through the executive learning group, I still talk to pretty regularly, Fiona being one of them. And we still are able to connect and share our experiences and maintain that wonderful camaraderie and friendship. So it's been a really great way to meet other nonprofit leaders and, like Janine said, to reciprocate and give back to those who need that support.
Right. How about you, Valin, your experiences with Fieldstone?
It's interesting. I mean, from a big picture perspective, there's really sort of nothing like it in this sector. I mean, I think there are three things that come to mind. One is to build the capacity of the entire sector, to be there for leaders and staff coming up in the nonprofit arena in San Diego County. There's nothing else. And you don't see it often, not just locally, but regionally, statewide, across the country. That kind of capacity building focus is really a rarity. The network is number two, right? Being able to connect people, leaders, up-and-coming leaders with one another in that trusted, kind of confidential space. And then the value that it brings to your own organization, for you as a leader to do better, whether it's listening, coaching, mentoring, giving back, volunteering, but also for your employees and colleagues to be able to kind of come up. I've got a new employee that's engaged now, and he gets to work through confidentially his own challenges with colleagues around the table. I'm not part of it. And together they get to sort of rise the tide for all boats. And that's a rare thing.
Right. So we're sitting here with you and your colleagues, Rhea and Jen and Fiona. Did you know them before, Fieldstone, at all, Valin?
No, exactly.
How about you, Rhea?
Jen I'd not met, so it's really nice to meet you today. And Fiona was actually one of those people who experienced COVID with me in my executive learning group. So It was really great to see her today. We've had lunch a couple of times and hear about our families and our kids growing up. So that network is still very much intact.
Yeah. So this is the DNA of Fieldstone leadership. I'm preaching to the congregation, of course, which I tend to do too much. But in this aspect of it, we call this on our Spotlight show Connectivity Capital, where people who are waiting to come on the show, well, I didn't realize you're going to be on the show. I've known you for X, Y, and Z. I didn't realize you're doing. Here you are. Now you've been close with Fiona. Now you got someone, Jen. Valin's got all three new ones here for ever since the Fieldstone. And then you to multiply that by X amount. And we all know this, Janine. But it's amazing, almost as Valin was saying, how much is it practiced? These connections they have made are going to last, whether, Rhea stays with Christie's for the next 25 years or moves on to something else. They're going to come across their paths in different board settings, different nonprofit settings. And I remember you when we worked together at Fieldstone Leadership Network, and that goes so far. Talk about that.
It absolutely does. Valin's a perfect example, because in the time that Valin has been with us or working with Fieldstone, he's been at, I think, 3 different organizations, right, Valin?
Yep.
3. And so we are really invested in individual leaders because we recognize that people will stay in the sector, but they may change organizations. And so what we're really trying to do is to invest in individual leaders and invest in their ability to make trusting relationships. So no matter where they are, they're able to collaborate and have conversations and do good work with others in the sector as well, because no nonprofit works alone.
Oh, they shouldn't, or else they will be
might
working
try,
alone.
but they really don't.
Right.
They're all connected, and I think that is really the beauty of the network and the power of it, because you may start with us because one organization sent you to participate in a program, but if you move around, you still maintain those relationships and your participation with us.
Yeah, there's no question about it. We'll start with you on Valin. What's the website so people can get engaged with you?
You got it, allianted.org.
Very good. Rhea, yours?
christiesplace.org.
Very good. And Janine, last but not least, what is the network website?
Fieldstone Leadership SD.org.
Well, I appreciate all of you coming in. You, Rhea, and Valin chatting about yours, and of course earlier, Jen and Fiona. Janine, as I mentioned to you before, we cannot shout this out enough. Leadership is something that is, misunderstood by a lot of people. And obviously there's a lot of things that people need when they get to this level, which is you're providing in this. And we know things start at the top. Yes, we need the whole organization to be marching in the same direction. We get that. But if it doesn't start at the top, then we got some issues, and you guys are just doing magnificent work doing it. So I thank you, Janine. This won't be probably to your not benefit, not the last time you'll be on the show.
We'll come back anytime.
Yeah.
I'd love to showcase our members.
Where we're gonna be doing that again. Rhea, what a pleasure! It's the first time I've met you. Valin, I think it's the first time I've met you. Jen and Fiona, not the first time I've met you folks in this area, but wishing all 4 of you nothing but continued great success. And thank you again, Janine and the Fieldstone Leadership Network, for all you're doing. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 19th year. Hard to believe. Brought to you by the amazing folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County, from food insecurity to financial literacy to art and everything in between. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.